Every business has its own unique story. Stories brewed in early mornings and late nights, built by the hands of business owners chasing a dream. Here on Business Over a Brew, we bring those stories to you. I'm Nick Darr, and in each episode, we sit down with a local business person to explore what drives them, what challenges them, and what keeps them pouring their passion into our community. Because every local business contributes more than just products or services. They're the heartbeat of our neighborhoods. They're run by people who care deeply about their community, and their stories remind us why supporting local matters. So pour yourself a drink, take a seat, and let's learn from some of the best in our backyard, right here on Business Over a Brew, presented by the Riverbend Growth Association. And welcome to another episode of Business Over a Brew. I'm your host, Nick Darr. Pleased to be joined by somebody I've been trying to get on the show for a long time, Cory Jobe with the Great Rivers and Routes Tourism Bureau. Cory, thanks for coming on. Appreciate it. You're a busy man.
Absolutely. I thought we were going to have a beer. No, I'm kidding.
Yeah, you're the second person to say that this week that was disappointed that they didn't get an alcoholic beverage when they came in. But,
it might help.
We need to bring that back. So we'll have to get a beer sponsor. Maybe.
But it's good to be here.
Well, great to have you.
To have the conversation.
For those that don't know, just a quick introduction, quick bio about yourself.
Mm-hmm. Sure. So I'm the president and CEO of Great Rivers and Routes Tourism Bureau. We're the regional destination marketing and management organization, certified with the state of Illinois for 6 counties: Green, Jersey, Calhoun, Madison, Montgomery, and Macoupin. The Bureau has been in existence in 2026, it'll be our 41st year as an organization. So many local listeners know of us as All Around Alton Convention and Visitor Bureau. But then in 2017, we expanded our reach. We had more and more communities interested in joining, liked what the Bureau was doing. And so we've been practicing this regional approach since 2017, and it's worked really well. I come to the Bureau after 23 years in state government, where I was the state tourism director from 2014 to 18. And then I left in 2018 and was vice president of marketing and communications at Navy Pier in Chicago, and did that for about 18 months. Then the pandemic, and you reset and rethink, and this opportunity came available, and I've been just celebrated my 5th year at the tourism.
It flies by, doesn't it? So
I can't believe where did the 5 years go. I just don't know.
I'm going to back that up from you just a little bit, Cory. One of the things I like best about Cory, I don't know if I can publicize this. You're a Cubs fan, so
I am a Cubs fan.
We like that around here.
I know you do. I'm I'm very happy right now.
We could probably do a whole podcast.
We probably could. Usually I'm a big Chicago fan. I'm a big Bears fan.
Well, you're having a good year.
Having a good year.
Right.
The test is the next 3 weeks, I think.
Not to talk too much football. I've been saying I said the Bears are frauds, and then they won at Philadelphia. I was like, well, maybe they're okay. So,
the test will be the next 3 weeks.
Right.
2 weeks against Green Bay, so we'll see how it goes.
Talk about the process of. I'm interested in it. I'm fascinated by how this job came about for you, and how you were recruited, and how the whole thing came together.
Well, I was very good friends with Brett Stawar, the previous president.
He's been on the show.
He's been on the show. He was here for almost 18 years, and I worked very closely with Brett when I was the state tourism director. We would partner a lot on international efforts and statewide marketing, and Brett became a very trusted voice from the destination marketing perspective. There's 38 of us in the state, 38 certified organizations. We're one of 38, and he called me one day and said, "Hey, I'm going to be moving on, and I gave your name to the board to reach out." And I interviewed, and I think at the time the board was shocked that I would be interested. And I was pretty disappointed when they said that, because I think the board, like many of your listeners, don't realize how valuable tourism is in the industry. And we are a tourism draw and a tourism destination.
One of I've been asked on boards or whatever, and one of the questions I'm on a panel for Phillips 66. One of the questions recently was, what do you see as some of the biggest challenges for our region? And one of the things I said, and I've tried to beat this drum for a while, is just we've got this inferiority complex. Like, we don't recognize some of the great assets that we have as a community that are
equal to or better than anywhere else in the country.
Yes. Well, the one thing we have that nobody else has is that big, beautiful body of water
Right
outside our front door, the Mississippi River. And then we have the confluence of the three rivers. And we sit on two recognized national scenic byways, the meeting of the Great Rivers and the Great River Road. And those are assets that many destinations would love to have across the country. And then when you look at our region, we're the only place in America where Route 66 and the Great River Road intersect. So there are two national scenic byways that most international audiences that like to travel to America are very familiar with. So we have this unique destination. Yes, we need to be more proud of what we have. We announced our visitor spending was from 2024 a couple months ago. We had $1.4 billion with a B, in visitor spending in our 6-county region, and 70% of that was here in Madison County. And when you look at product development and things to do, we're just scratching the surface,
right
with what we need to sustain the industry for growth. But we already have a $1.4 billion in visitor spending taking place.
So that tells me, and maybe you can tell me if I'm right or wrong, that the people are coming to the community.
Absolutely.
And the more things we could have, the more money would be spent.
Absolutely. What we focus on, what we call the non-resident spending, those individuals that come into the marketplace, they might be here for a youth or amateur sporting event. They might just be going to a local restaurant or a brewery or bakery, visiting a site or attraction. They spend their money and then they leave. And that money recycles in the local economy, and those taxes that are generated help us as residents keep our sidewalks nice, our public infrastructure in good shape, our public parks thriving. And so, to have that spending last year and the tax revenues from that, $53 million in local taxes generated off that spending. So I always ask,
probably not many other things that generated that much tax revenue.
No, not at all. And so, when you think about just overall, people are coming to the region, and they're coming here to Alton, and they're coming here to the Great River Road, and it's because of the view shed, the great outdoors, the outdoor recreation, nature-based tourism that we have.
I think and I know this has been a drum you've been beating since you got here. I think it's perfectly positioned for, and if you've had children that play soccer or baseball or whatever sport it is, how much money gets spent when a team travels to your region to play. You're talking about 15 to 20 families coming in, staying at your hotels. You eat at restaurants, you do, and this is it's really a great area to do that because it's affordable.
Yes.
But it's also got a lot of things to do. It's close proximity to St. Louis. So it would really be a perfect place. I think the one thing that might be lacking a little bit is, and it's been improved obviously, is just the facilities.
Yeah. I mean, you hit it. We're centrally located in America, in the Midwest. We're close
easy to get to.
We're easy to get to interstate systems and international airport, 30 minutes away in St. Louis, and we're affordable. We have a sales team dedicated to sports, youth and amateur sporting events. We just I'll break it here. We just signed and
look at this. This show breaks news.
We just signed American Junior Golf again for another 2 years. That's almost 800 room nights in the marketplace. Over $1.5 million in visitor spending just in a week.
That's amazing.
And now that costs the Bureau about $50,000 a year to get American Junior Golf, and we're partnering with Spencer T. Olin to do that. And so they're going to be here in 26 and 27. They started here last year. We actually got them from a course in St. Louis. So we brought them back. American Junior Golf had not been here in over 10 years. We are partnering with the River Dragons to continue the Alton River Dragons to bring Division I, Division II, NCBA baseball back to Lloyd Hopkins Field again next year. We pay that entire bill. Great Rivers and Routes Tourism Bureau does. That's about $30,000 investment. But just those two tournaments in 2 weekends, bring 1,200 room nights and almost $3 million in economic impact spending.
I mean, those numbers are amazing. And I think I'm glad that we're having this conversation, because if anybody sees this and just has that understanding. So when you see somebody saying, hey, I think we need to upgrade baseball facilities or soccer facilities, recognize how much revenue that can bring to your community.
Well, it's if you look at the industry, if you look at tourism as a whole, from business travel to leisure to the meetings market to youth and amateur sports, the youth and amateur sports industry has been the fastest growing since the pandemic. Last year was a $54 billion industry in America, and that's not collegiate or professional sports. That's youth and amateur sports. It's hot. It's not going anywhere. And, I've
contributed quite a few of those 54 billion.
Would you like to keep that here?
I would, yes.
Locally.
Yeah.
And our hotel owners and operators want more of it. Our small business owners want more of it because, like you said in the intro, we know when those tournaments are here because we're booking them. They typically use a housing bureau that we've set up with a local hotel or series of hotels in Madison County. And then, you see them out at restaurants, at sites and attractions. We have our partners telling this all the time. The problem is we're lacking facilities and we're getting there in the region. Edwardsville with Plummer Park 2 expansion is really helping. But what we lack is an indoor facility. And I've preached this till I'm blue in the face. And there's been a lot of starts and stops and ideas, but it's a big commitment financially to make something happen. But when I'm talking about an event facility, it's, a 10 to 12 basketball size court facility that you can turn into 24 volleyball courts. You can turn into gymnastics, dance, and cheer. And we just don't have that. The Gateway Convention Center in Collinsville, yes, but it's completely booked most of the year with cheer, dance, gymnastic competitions. And so, it's kind of a who gets there first in Madison County. I think Edwardsville has very unique and great outdoor facilities. And we have some of those in Godfrey. We have some here in Alton, but not the indoor facility that we desperately need. And we've had a couple of studies done that show we need that. But, it's a $50 million development. Right. Just when you put the number, it's 50 million. Now, could you do a public-private partnership, a P3? Could you do a star bond deal? Possibly. Sure. Those can happen. And it's our job to kind of facilitate discussions. And I've facilitated those discussions with numerous mayors and leaders in the region.
I think the average taxpayer hears that and they're like, 50 million for that makes no, but then when you throw the numbers out of what just one weekend means,
and the venue pays for itself in about 4 years.
Right.
Where an outdoor facility is pretty much a loss leader. It's great for local parks departments and the quality of life and the livability of a region, but it doesn't pay for itself as fast as an indoor facility pays for itself. And so, it is a big nut to crack, unfortunately, but we're behind the times in facility development. If you look just around us within a 3-hour drive, Springfield, Illinois, Mattoon, Illinois, communities in Missouri are building fast and furious. But there's still demand and a need for it. And when we looked at this, our quality of life and our sites and attractions and things to do for families in between games score very high in the region.
Right.
And the ability to pick different restaurants and things to do scores very high. So, we have that aspect of the market cornered. We just need to continue to find a development of a major indoor facility.
And even outdoor facility wise, in the baseball world that I've kind of lived in with youth baseball, it's like not having turf facilities in the Alton area.
Yes.
It makes it tough to get tournaments because
it does.
Most teams are looking to play on turf fields because it limits your chance of getting rained out. You're probably going to get the games in.
Well, and that's where Lloyd Hopkins Field has really been a blessing because I really see that as a key championship field. We can go after more tournaments. Steve Marceau and I talk about this often. We could be going after many junior collegiate tournaments for championship.
Right.
The problem there is we've got a great field, but it's the experience around it in terms of locker facilities and amenities that fans and teams need and leagues need to meet their criteria. And so, and then the fields that are there, around that, if redeveloped and turfed, could be quite a destination. And so again, it's just having the right conversations at the right time and keeping people focused. But sports tourism, youth and amateur sports, is the fastest growing and will continue to be.
What, just personally, what activities are your days mostly filled up with?
Ringing the phone, talking to mayors, elected officials, our partners, meeting with the sales team. I wear a lot of hats. We're a small organization. We're 6 full-time employees. We're about a $2.5 million a year budget. So I'm constantly involved at the state, researching and writing grants at the state and federal level, working with our sales team to talk to the rights holders that we want to bring to the marketplace, whether that's sports or group tour, and then just managing the day-to-day operations of the office. I also do a majority of our marketing. I buy and place all the media, and then we have a couple of teams that help traffic that out to the individual media vendors. A lot of my time right now is taking, I chair the Governor's Centennial Commission for Route 66, which is a statewide organization. I'm the legislative chair for the Illinois Destinations Association, which is our collective, the 38 members. We're the lobbying arm for all of us. And so I chair our legislature. So I'm in Springfield a lot. And then, working with the Illinois Office of Tourism. So not one day's.
Right. Other than those things, not much going on for you.
Yeah, not much going on. And then, obviously we're building the new Byway Discovery Center and at Great Rivers Park, and also the new expansion and upgrades to the Lewis and Clark Confluence Tower. So I'm acting as a project manager as well. So a lot of things that keep me busy on a daily basis.
Well, let's take a quick break. I want to come back and talk about the GOAT Awards, international travel, and a few other topics with Cory Jobe after this on Business Over a Brew. Nick Dar here with Big Z Media. Hope you enjoy the episodes of Business Over a Brew, and pleased to have the Riverbend Growth Association as the sponsor of this program. Our missions are kind of the same. Really, we're attempting to educate people about business, foster business in the Riverbend community. The Big Z has been a member of the Growth Association forever, probably back to our inception as a company almost. We have always been members of the Growth Association, have gotten a lot of benefits from it. There's so many networking opportunities you can take advantage of. I've met so many great people just because I've been a member of the Growth Association and taken advantage of all the events that they have, plus just some of the resources they provide you, the relationships you build, just lots of great reasons to join the Growth Association. They do a lot of great things in the community as well. They highlight a different nonprofit every month. So really, they're just invested in the community here, and especially the small business community, which is what Business Over a Brew is really all about, which is helping the small business community, because it's so important to any community to have a thriving business community. And the Growth Association has really helped with that. If you want more information about joining or events that might be coming up, they have events all the time that you should definitely take advantage of. I'm going to give you the website to go to. Just head to growthassociation.com. You can get a membership directory. You can see who's taking advantage of it. You can see about the events that are there, learn more about possibly becoming a member. Or if you already are a member, you can find out what's going on with the Growth Association at growthassociation.com. So just again, big thank you to the Riverbend Growth Association for sponsoring Business Over a Brew. Welcome back to Business Over a Brew. Nick Dar visiting with Cory Jobe, Great Rivers and Routes Tourism Bureau. We touched on it a little bit, but a lot of people probably see the big cruise ships coming to town, and I know international travel is a big part of the game plan and the equation here too. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, so cruise ships, obviously Viking and American Cruise Lines both port here in Alton. This past year, we had over 12,000 passengers come through, which John Q. Public probably does not realize that, but in all, we then produced 300 plus tours for those individuals. So most of those individuals are flying, those guests are flying from the East Coast or the West Coast. But that's, again, a unique opportunity. Not each of them won't visit a business. They might stay on the boat, but some of them do visit businesses. And
how long are they typically
Well, that depends. If this is their, we're typically a pre and post. So there could be a tour that's arriving and then another one leaving, or it could just be stopping in port for the day and heading on to a next stop. So
Gotcha.
we do a lot of the pre and post. So if you booked a trip and you're leaving, you could get on one of our tours that could either be doing the Great River Road, the Lewis and Clark, or the All Around Alton tour. And so we have 7 different seasonal tour guides that lead those tours for us. We'll probably be adding Coquia Mountains to the mix and probably the Byway Discovery Center next year when Coquia Mountains fully reopens. And then on the international front, that's a long lead time. Obviously, with Route 66 Centennial in 2026, going to be a big year.
Right.
International travel is not great right now to America in general. Canadian travel still down about 50%. A lot of that is the drive market. So we're seeing that impact because when Canadian travelers travel south for the winter to Florida, we see stopover in this market.
Right.
And that's been pretty much zeroed out the last 18 months. And so, but we are seeing positive signs out of the European market, UK, Germany, all Route 66 driven, obviously having Chicago as the gateway into the state. And then with new flights, Lufthansa flying out of St. Louis to Frankfurt, and then BA, British Airways, will start in March, daily service to London. Those are great opportunities for us. So we work collectively with our friends over at Explore St. Louis. We're working with the state, with Brand USA, the nation's DMO. We're heavily involved. Last June, we hosted 140 media reps from 11 countries.
I feel for you. Media reps, that must have been horrible.
It was horrible. No, it was wonderful, but it was 4 days of hosting and entertaining and showing them the wonderful things about the Great River Road and Route 66. So again, it's a lot of meeting with tour operators internationally, meeting with media reps, making sure we have coverage. And so our partnership with the state has been tremendous because we could never afford that on our own.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, hosting last June for 4 days was about $80,000 because you had to fly them here, get them back. We couldn't pay that. So we had a great partnership with the state and Brand USA to make that all work.
5 years in, what do you look back and say, this is, I'm really proud that we were able to accomplish this?
Well, a few things. We've actually increased our revenues.
That's always good.
That's always a good sign. We're up $1 million since I started working here 5 years ago. That's number one. Number two, I think more of a regional approach. Everybody said you'll never be able to get everybody locked into driving travel to and throughout the 6-county region. And I think we're closer than ever to that. We've made a lot of strides. I think when a family or a couple or anybody traveling, they can come to Alton, headquarter here in Alton at their hotel, and travel up the Great River Road, head to Edwardsville, or travel up to Route 66 up to Macoupin County. I mean, there's plenty of things for families to see and do and experience for a week. So I think everybody's realized it's just not the bed tax. It's actually all revenues that are help lifting the region. That's been proven by the increase in tax revenues. The third thing is ushering through this capital grant, so this $10 million of the Byway Discovery Center at Great Rivers Park, and our partnership with Great Rivers Land Trust and the U.S. Army Corps on that site. It's going to be spectacular when it opens in May. And I think those are the big accomplishments. There's a lot of things I'd like to do that we didn't get to.
Right.
And I think elevating youth and amateur sports, we didn't have that as a function before. We've invested well over $500,000 in incentives in that in the past 2 years, and it's proven.
Right.
But we need more, and we need more dollars to do it with. And like I said earlier, an event center to make that a reality. But again, those are all positive things. And year after year, visitor spending's increased. Average daily rate has been positive and at our hotels. And so we want to see that continue.
I know, obviously travel and getting people from outside the area, inside
Yes.
the area is a big part of it. But I heard you recently on the radio talking too about just the importance of local people shopping local.
Yes.
Talk a little bit about, your relationship and what you do
Yeah.
for local businesses as well with local residents.
Yeah, so we, I think what's really unique about our destination is our small business community. We have a unique small business community. We have great restaurants, great shopping experiences. We have haunted tours. We've got so many unique things that many destinations would love to have, and we have all that.
Mm-hmm.
And they're really spectacular. It's really the small business community that's kind of leading why we push. And we spend a lot of money in understanding where our visitors are coming from, what their likes are, and where their movements are taking place in the region, and food, shopping, not at chains, but small business restaurants and small business gift shops and shopping experiences are very high.
Right.
They do very well with the visitor economy. And I would assume if you talk to a small business owner, they rely on the visitor economy much so.
Sure.
And we look at visitors 50-mile radius in, that's a visitor too, but then 50-mile radius out is where we're really focusing most of our media spend. But again, it's Alton going to Hillsborough residents, Hillsborough going to Edwardsville, et cetera. So we need our regional economy
Mm-hmm.
and residents to support local. But I think it's obviously the visitor economy has helped tremendously. And so, how can we find ways and partner with organizations and our local governments to make sure that our small business community is successful? I've said this, small business owners have enough to deal with from the front door to the back door within their business. They don't want to have to deal with what's happening on the public right of way or how they're being promoted or marketed. And many of them can't afford to market or promote. And so it's up to organizations like us to make that happen.
Sure. And time for shameless self-promotion. The Go Towards something we partnered on to really highlight a lot of the great local businesses that we have in our community, like you talked about, which helps with people inside the area and also people traveling in, and they can pick up a copy of this and figure out the best restaurants to visit and best places to go. So.
Yeah, I mean, obviously it's we have to constantly find ways to help promote what's really happening here in the business space. I'll always beat my drum about a new event center space or a new hotel, this new development, that, but how can we help continue to promote our small business community? That's the key, because they're really the ones that are propping up our hospitality and travel industry. And we want to make sure they're armed with the best information out there. It's interesting. We launched a 10-year tourism master plan for the region last year. We did a study throughout the 6-county region, met with a lot of stakeholders. And, one thing we've got to do a better job of from our perspective is making sure our business owners and our frontline staff and our business owners know all the wonderful things that are happening here, because you never know who will walk through that front door. You never know. It always starts with a visit, right?
Right.
You just never know who's going to come in on a cruise ship.
Sure.
You just don't know. It could be a business owner. It could be a couple looking to retire. You just don't know. And so always making sure that we're acting like a tourism destination. When you go to Savannah or Charleston, they're business owners. You walk through the front door, they know the gospel of the tourism song. And so that's our job, to continue to make sure we're educating our business owners and their teams and staff about what's happening in the marketplace. So the Go Towards is one of many great things to honor those businesses.
Yeah, when I came to you with the idea, I said, "What I just want to shine a light on all the great work that local businesses that they do around here, because we do have a tremendous, effective, impactful, charitable local business community, and they work hard. They do a great job, and we wanted to shine a light on that. And thanks to you for partnering with us to do that.
Absolutely. So. Yeah, it's and I love it when all the small businesses share their Google reviews or their online reviews, and those aren't made up. And we do certain things a year. We just wrapped up our craft beverage festival where we promote all the local producers in the region from the craft beer, spirits, and wine. And then we had 8 restaurants join us. We sold 350 tickets. So it's, again, how do we raise the bar and showcase? And many of those tickets were purchased from St. Louis. We know where they're coming from.
Right. Yeah.
And, those type of things. How can we continue to help small business owners who, still don't have enough staff, managing everything, the rising uncertainty of costs, all those sorts of things are still in play post-pandemic.
Sure.
How can we not get in their way and help promote them?
Right. Great stuff, Cory. Anything we didn't touch on that we need to cover before I let you go? I probably kept you a little over time. But...
Oh, no. I just encourage your listeners to check out our website at riversandroutes.com, where we've got a lot of information, small business, trip planning tools, you name it.
I've heard people say this on podcasts before. We'll put a link to that in the show notes. How about that?
Perfect. I'd appreciate that. But it's a pleasure being on the show.
Well, thanks for coming on. Appreciate your partnership and appreciate the work you do in the community, and best of luck in the future. We'll have to do it again sometime.
We'll do it again.
All right. Thanks, Cory.
Thanks for watching this episode of Business Over Brew. If you'd like to support local business, first and foremost, shop local whenever you can. Secondly, liking, sharing, and subscribing to the show in whatever form you consume it would mean the world to us. To watch more episodes, visit businessoverbrewpodcast.com.